Good evening. Welcome. We are operating in accordance with the CDC guidelines and recommendations.
All right, take them off, Zach.
You can take them off.
All right.
Here we go. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the first episode of Alliance TV, the next iteration of Fresh Start Presents. We're here today to discuss this exciting new partnership between LifeWorking Coworking and Fresh Start Business Incubator. And who no other than to talk about that, the founder and CEO of LifeWorking Coworking, Steve Whittington, and the president of Fresh Start, John Edgcomb. So want to tell everybody in the audience, this is going to be live Q&A following the approximately 45-minute interview. So you can do a couple of things. You can either put your questions into the chat box, or you can raise your hand, and we'd love to see your face. So feel free to turn off your camera and engage. We have a TV right here, so we can see you as you're talking. My name is Zach Slade. I'm a board member for Fresh Start Business Incubator, and very excited to get this off the ground. So let's dive in here, and I'll turn it over to the folks you want to hear from. John Edgcomb, if you want to introduce yourself, and Steve Whittington.
Sure. I'm John Edgcomb. I'm the president of Fresh Start Business Incubator.
Steve Whittington. I am founder and CEO of LifeWorking Coworking, and super excited to be here today to talk about our strategic alliance.
So let's get started, Steve. Tell us about the genesis. I want to talk about a little bit about the history of Fresh Start and the history of LifeWorking. My understanding in talking to you is you were a big corporate job for 20 years, and you actually ended up jumping into the startup space. So
yeah,
how'd that happen?
Yeah, it was not something that I was expecting. But to be in a place like this 5 years later. So my background quickly is I was a proctoid as they called us, with P&G for just over 20 years. And IT was my primary area of responsibility, specifically in data and telecommunications. And with that, it was in the late 90s that we were actually deploying internet points of presence, and more importantly, the ability for Procter & Gamble folks to work from anywhere at any time. And so Melinda and I, both of us proctoids, really learned the value of flexible work, right? So I could coach, for instance, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and if I'm on the laptop at 11:30, I'm perfectly fine with that. So fast forward, almost 15 years, and we moved to the Chicagoland area, and I quickly determined I'm not spending another 20 years in a corporate environment. So this is 2015. So I started doing that networking thing, right? What we do every day. And I'm going to cafes, and I'm going to coffee shops.
I think we met in a cafe, right?
We did. And I'm eating everywhere, and I don't need to eat everywhere I go. And I look around me, and I see gray hairs, I see yoga pants, I see middle school students, I see suits with portfolios falling off of tables, and that's where the need really struck me. You're in community, you don't want to get on that train, but you don't have a good place to be. And so that's where the need came in, and I started doing some research, and it's where the opportunity came up. And I actually know how to talk this way from my experience as an entrepreneur. I probably wouldn't have said it this way before, but I found out, quite frankly, that the industry 5 years ago was very anti-corporate.
Yep. The
industry 5 years ago did not respect the suburbs. And my belief at that time was, in fact, that may be the right and the best place to be. And so that's the genesis, and that's what brings us here today.
Makes sense. John, I want to turn it over to you. You've been one of the leaders of Fresh Start for many years now. You're one of the individuals who took it from a career center, which it was originally, to an incubator. Tell us about that, and just talk about the Fresh Start community.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. Community is really the key word here. And Fresh Start started out, Dave Cook had started a group called Goldtran, and it's Green Oaks, Libertyville Trusted Referral Network. And those words mean something because his aim was to bring people together in a location and to get to know your neighbor. And how can your neighbor help one another? And so when the economy took a turn and people lost their jobs, it was Motorola, it was Abbott, it was some of the major corporations, there needed to be a place where people could go and get back on their feet. So Terry Wepler and Dave Cook got together, and it was Terry's help and guidance that said, hey, Dave, why don't you put a 501c3 together, get that going, we'll support you. And away it went. And from that point, there were some key people that played a major role. Bruce Rudig, who's still on our board now, he's one of the founding fathers of Fresh Start.
Hi, Bruce.
And Dave Cook certainly has been a major player in making this happen. Tom Gottfried had done a lot of things that were something that is going to be a common theme for us. Had a radio show, helped people in terms of training and getting people going. But it was a community of service. People weren't getting paid. People came in, they gave their time, taking people out of their basements and bringing them in and teaching them how to fish, how to network, how to interview, getting their resumes back together. And I think that was really the foundation upon which we kind of grew Fresh Start. But I will tell you, the main thing that really intrigued me when I first got involved was this whole networking aspect of it. How can I help you and how can you help me? And one of the first events that I went to, I was shepherded around by one of the board members. You have to meet this person, this person, this person, because I think you can add value in these different areas. And I fell in love because that is really the essence of what we're creating now.
Absolutely.
It really is. It's let's bring communities together and let's make something happen that is extraordinary and bringing back to the community.
So tell me about the incubator. How did it transition from a career center to an incubator?
Well, that was easy, and you alluded to this because you said you didn't want to go back to corporate, and you were probably one of the ones that we probably saw in one of the coffee shops. But the fact of the matter is, when people lost their jobs, they'd been working for a major corporation for years, and then all of a sudden they lose their job. You know, let's do something different. Let's pivot. Let's create something. And so we were having more people come to us at that point saying, hey, I want to start a job. And oh, by the way, Fresh Start had accumulated all these incredible mentors, experts in their own right, in their fields, you know, lawyers, salespeople, marketing people, and they became our mentors. And so it became a very easy transition for us.
I do want to dive into the mentors and how they can get involved and, you know, where they fit into this. But before I do, I want to talk to you about board composition, because that's something that's always been very important to you, getting the right people on the board and structuring a diverse board.
Well, you're on the board, so.
Yeah.
and the reason being is because we want to instill a young, vibrant, entrepreneurial attitude. You know, I'm an older guy, Bruce is an older guy, and we need to have that succession plan going forward, number one. Number two, we love the young ideas. And, you know, that's a big part of my mission here, is to kind of, it's that whole mentoring, getting people involved, and having a board that is diverse in a lot of different ways, right? And I think that's important.
Makes sense. Steve, I want to turn it over to you, because you really came up with this idea of joining forces. Tell us about that. Tell us about how this concept evolved and how LifeWorking plans to adapt to incorporate the Fresh Start incubator process into their model.
No, it's a great question, and you know, it's a question that I'm probably better able to answer now, right after 5 years, because we have done a lot of pivoting. You know, I have the opportunity both to mentor and to be mentored and read a lot, and boy, you know, for instance, I don't know if you listened to Guy Raz's How I Built This, but you learn that everybody goes through pivots, everybody stumbles, and you know, our evolution, we've always focused on you know, our member, or you, our client. That's always been important for us. But community was an aspect that we sort of were aspirational towards, but we really learned is super valuable. And what that means is, you know, in addition to focusing on our members, which many of which I see out here, is you know, focusing on and having the opportunities with, for instance, the Lake Forest, Lake Bluff Chamber of Commerce. Having them meet here every other Friday, having the high school students doing pitch nights. We've had opportunities with the Lake Forest College. And that community focus and being explicitly and externally focused, right, and making connections to those dots in the community has been really, really important to us. And that's something we learned sort of as, hey, maybe that's a nice thing to do, to an important thing to do, quite frankly. And then, the other pivot for us came to, well, how do we find how do you find us? There's a very common joke here with us that we have a sign on the side of this building that's big, and we had to get a variance, and nobody sees it, right? So another adaptation that we made, and it really is focused on, our expansion, is we need to be seen. We don't need to be on the second floor. We need to be on a retail floor. If we're engaging with the public and we're engaging with community, then that's where we need to be found. And what's been really exciting is in these 5 years, right, we moved from our Lake Forest location, being well known in Lake Forest, to municipalities in Chicagoland and even in the Midwest interested in what we're doing. And we have some developers and some very exciting retail mall partners that we'll be talking about soon that are also very interested in coming back to the Fresh Start BI connection. Is, what we see when we look outward is a lot of need, and we see a lot of opportunity, and we really look forward to taking advantage of that. And that's why I think, Fresh Start makes a lot of sense.
So we're more than just, Fresh Start and LifeWorking is more than just a partnership. We're an alliance. So my question to you is, what does that mean to you, and why now?
Yeah. So, the alliance is, and one of the things I'd say is I think we even had some pictures up, is we've done Fresh Start BI and LifeWorking Coworking have done some stuff in the past, at the Fresh Start Presents.
I think you were part of the first Fresh Start Presents event,
That's
right?
Correct. Yeah. That's correct. And we've had one or two, I think, here. And what was it was important for us at that time. But what we see right now is that because of the needs in the community, because we have a very, very tight, I think, and communal belief in engagement in the community. That made sense. And another reason why I believe the time is now is we're starting to come out. We haven't come out, but we're starting to come out of a time that has now led us to seeing that there's a workforce, light's starting to shine, but there's still workforce issues out there. There's still a lot of folks that don't have jobs. And the statistics out there are saying that a lot of those folks are turning towards small businesses. And we already knew that small business was the backbone of what of the U.S. economy anyway. There's a lot more opportunity out there, and I think coming together, I believe, or we wouldn't get into the strategic alliance as far as I was concerned, is that this is the right time for us to be able to offer and to learn and to be a part of the change that's coming.
I want to talk about how all this helps the Fresh Start mission expand, right, and replicate, because I think we have a process and a model that can replicate anywhere in the country. But want to take a step, John, or a stab rather at you. We're all volunteer. We're all volunteer based here. I don't know anybody who gives more time to Fresh Start than you. What's wrong with you? Why do you do this? What's in it for you?
Do we have that much time?
Yeah. No, that's a great question, Zach, and it's about giving back, and it ties nicely in with where Steve is philosophically, and it's about growing the economy. I mean, one of the things that concerns me a bit is that we rely on external forces to help our economies. It's outside money, it's government money, it's yada, yada, yada. You go down the path with that. But the fact of the matter is, it's people, the best economies in the world, the best communities in the world are self-sustaining. And they give back to the community. They start with young people. They educate well. They create a loop that allows for sustainability, mentoring, you name it. And I have a deep appreciation of education in the sense that it's experiential. And I think that ties really well into what we're trying to accomplish here as an alliance. And I will tell you even further that where I see the benefit for Fresh Start here is the expanding of resources. I mean, we are sort of a family business in the way we've operated, right? We have a tight-knit board. We've kept it fairly tight, in part to keep the quality really high. And so as we've decided to expand, we needed to find a partner that aligned with us from a quality perspective in every aspect of the way we operate. So if we're going to expand into other areas, in other parts of the country, it really needs to be in a way that is, we need to replicate the model that is the model we have, right? And it's high touch, high experience model.
It's really turning magic into science,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And there's an art, I think, involved too, and one of that piece is the
Art, magic, and science. Very well said.
That's right. Is the mentor piece, right? Because I'd argue, our bread and butter are the mentors, whether it be board members or folks that we pull in, from our network. I think it's one of the ways we've differentiated is we don't have 10 mentors that we call on for all the mentoring. We really go to the community, but wanted to ask you your philosophy around selecting and engaging the mentor community.
Well, that's a great question, and I have a couple of great examples here. One is Caleb Borgstrom, who owns Light Technologies. This is a young guy who started a company. His first year kind of got things going, had 3 employees, got himself to about $700,000 in revenue this first year, all on gaming PCs, did some pivoting. He's now at 7 million. He's got 15 employees, and Bruce has been a huge part in mentoring Caleb as a lead mentor. But one of the things that we've done is infused key people in Caleb's life so that he has a vision that can grow. So there's a gentleman from MBX, the president there, who we had called on to have a conversation, right? Just have a conversation with Caleb, and Caleb went through the tour, got some interaction, really came back out of that with this, wow, this is amazing. This is really cool. And what a great opportunity for Caleb to be in that situation at that particular time, right? And the same thing with Paul Diambri, who came in and gave him some legal advice at the right time, because that's what he needed. So we're pulling resources at any one time because of our network, but these are people that we trust. These are people that that we know in the community, and I think that adds to the breadth of our mentoring group. It's not just somebody who's sitting across in a desk who's been hired to do just that. No, this is a very dynamic, interactive type of teaching environment, right? It really is about teaching. It's about getting somebody to the next level. Yes, business plans and pro formas, those are all very important pieces for any business. But what's the experience that this person's going to go through, and what's the end result, right? I want somebody to be smarter and somebody to feel more confident after they leave, rather than, oh, I've got this great slide deck or I've got a great pro forma. I think it's that experience that's really important.
You mentioned confidence, and I think that's so key. One of the things that I love seeing as we mentor these clients is that they come in with very little confidence, and oftentimes they leave with a ton of confidence.
Yes.
And that alone makes all the difference. Steve, you mentioned the why. John, I don't think you did. I'd love to know, why now? Why this alliance at this point in Fresh Start's, duration?
The stars aligned. The stars aligned. It just, and that's been the beauty of our lives, really. I mean, let's face it, the time is perfect. The time was perfect for Fresh Start because we were thinking in terms of, how do we grow? What do we know? We were kind of stuck in the sense that, we all have our own businesses, and that's the unique part of Fresh Start is we all have our own businesses. And so giving back, I'd love to do it more. I'd love to expand. How do we do it? And so it was got a call from Steve, and we had this conversation. It was a great first conversation, and here we are.
Here we are.
That's it.
Two entrepreneurs figuring it out and, and merging. And I think, the fun thing is we've got a corporate group merging and mixing with a kind of, lifestyle non-for-profit. And it's interesting, and it's a lot of fun. And it's, we're having a good time doing it.
And we're moving fast,
Yeah.
And if I could, I just want to add, to the why real quickly, is on the LifeWorking Coworking side, the trends, as we all now read in very public, periodicals, right, and news sources, are in our favor, right?
Yep.
The suburbs versus the CBDs, really the fact that while, we appreciate home and we like that. There's we like that more maybe than we did before. It doesn't always serve you. So that's why for LifeWorking Coworking it made sense. But again, I would say that probably more importantly, and I'm going to go back to it because it's something missionally that we talked about as well, is that there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of need out there. And as we came together and we talked about not only, it seems like a good idea, but why does it seem like a good idea? What I really liked is we came around the concept that not only can we do more together, but we took it upon ourselves, right? Something that maybe wasn't as explicit to say, to add to our mission, that, we wanted to have an emphasis on the underserved community, right? We wanted to ensure that when we say community, right? When you put a flag in the ground and you start to say, okay, am I 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile? That's our community, right? And so to ensure that we can only do it with the right partners, with the right mentors, the right platform, and the right mindset. But I'm really excited about that aspect because it's new for us.
Yeah.
No, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Want to go into some of the projects, right? Because really what it comes down to is what are we doing together? We both have, we're separate organizations, but we have certain key projects to really make the biggest impact in the community.
Yeah.
Being microfunding, being this Fresh Start Presents, the Alliance Television, where we hope to bring more mentors in, more subject matter experts, entrepreneurs, and folks in the community. But if you could just pick a project and talk about it, what's your favorite? And how do you see it evolving with this new partnership?
I'll jump in first because it's sort of funny. I'm the IT guy, and I'm not going to talk about the platform. I am excited about the microfunding project, and we call it a project because there's many things we don't know, and we have a project to the end to. But really, at a very high level, it's that I've learned from Fresh Start, right, that there are times very early in the formation of a company, and I've seen it here as well, that just a little bit of an investment gets me to a business, right?
Exactly right.
I now have a platform to start very simply. And then you progress, you go through the cycle, that really cool circle that I think everybody's going to have a chance to look at. You get to the end of that, and there may be a more substantive investment that's necessary, right? It's a prototype, it's a marketing campaign, and very importantly, it's not just for producing widgets, it's for nonprofits, it's for mompreneurs, it's for solopreneurs, it's for all of the the diversity of clients that you guys have. And lastly, coming back to what I was talking about before, is the other thing that we know is, again, in the community, there is a segment, an underserved segment that may not have access to starting, access to, business formation capital. And so that's why I'm really excited about that project. And I should absolutely say, I think we have some of them on the screen as well, is we can't do it without other partners in the community. We know that there are other partners that are needful to make this successul. And I just love connecting dots. So that's me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to step right into a great example of connecting the dots. We've been working with a wonderful woman, Barbara Stringer, who has this dental academy, right? And she's helping the underserved community by getting these individuals in a situation where they can earn a really good living. So they get into her program, they get a certificate, and then they can walk into a dental office and start a $20 to $30, $40,000 a year job. And what was been amazing is connecting her, and Bruce is responsible for this, connecting her with a dental group, Dr. Mulvaney, who is in need of dental assistants and dentists, and that merging of the two was incredible, because now she's working in multiple places. He's getting the needs met, but it's, to your point, connecting the dots, and that's so vital. And the microfunding is going to play a huge part of this, but it's also, there's other things beyond that when we connect the dots that's going to be inclusive. It's going to be a betterment for the community, and that's a great example that I can think of.
One of the things that I think has prevented us from scaling, right, or bringing on new clients is just capacity. One of the investments we've made is this whole platform. Do either one of you want to talk about the platform and how that's going to allow us to bring on more clients?
Oh, absolutely. And the platform is super excited. I'm super excited about that, because we have been doing a lot of this manually, and quite frankly, I'm looking forward to tracking the progress of the individual clients more aggressively. I'm looking forward to having a resource pool from a resource library perspective. I think if we have, the platform is going to allow us to make the dots exponentially, because we're going to have a lot of mentors and lead mentors in there. They're going to bring their networks in, and so we're going to create an ecosystem that is just going to grow, and through our influence, but their action, and that is going to be key. And that's one of the major things I love about this, is just having the foundation and the platform where we can really grow in different locations. And I think what we're going to see is different data and analytics coming back from this, depending on the community, and then it plays back to us, how can we help this community better? What are we not doing, and what are we doing to really support that?
And data-based, absolutely.
Right? And so, really excited about it. Absolutely.
It makes all the sense in the world. What are your plans? I'll start with you, Steve. How do you see the next couple months going, and then into the next couple of years? What would be your ideal scenario?
Yeah, I think I'm going to start a little bit nearer term. Is this March to March, right? Us being right here, right? As we announced in January, and we really wanted to come out and more than have a press release talk about this is what we believe in. This is how we collectively, as a set of teams and partners, want to be about. April, is really a focus for us on additional mentor acquisition, right? And how do we bring the mentors and advisors, to bear, right? Because that leads to May, and May is our target. And again, as you said, John, we brought together two teams, but I will say that we're not, even if we were fast at P&G, we wouldn't do anything that didn't take at least a year and a half. we are not giving ourselves that kind of freedom. No, so in May, we want to be able to go to market. We want to be able to start bringing clients on. And again, that's why we need mentors. I'll look at the camera. You're going to hear this again in a second, I think. It's why we need mentors. This is why you're going to be learning about a donate button that, of course, has been on Fresh Start BI's website for a very long time.
No one seems to know about it, but it's been there.
Well,
we promise.
We're doing something about that. But that's how I see really our next couple months. Really, as we then come out and we continue to build this plane as it's flying.
Yes.
Building companies grassroots, right? Old school,
absolutely.
Through mentoring, through getting business plans together.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see this expand, as LifeWorking Coworking expands, for it to now go into multiple locations and different communities and be able to do that. And
and just maybe to add to that, right? Because you asked me a couple years out, and I missed that part, or I didn't answer that part of the question. It's coming back. We've talked sort of about a unit, if I could put it this way, right? Our strategic alliance and what we're going to do together. what really excites me, right, is when you move to 5 to 10, and again, the plans for LifeWorking with regional, even national real estate partners, with investors that are really looking at impact as a primary focus, is expanding. We think that if you just look at it objectively at the suburban market, it's enormous. I don't like to look at it objectively. Subjectively, I think these needs are very, very strong, and especially at this time, as the whole flexible work arena has just been thrown forward 5 years and 9 months. And what's exciting there is when you go from 1 to 5 to 10 to 20, right? And we have plans bigger than that. Think about what maybe an investor or a mentor in Detroit might be able to offer to a new business, right, in the North Shore of Chicago. Think about what we'll discover on the way, and that exponential effect of having this network coupled together by the platform, which simply is a mechanism for communicating, but the content and the people and how we do things, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Well said. Great. So you mentioned mentors a couple of times. How do people get involved?
Well, you call us, email us, and one of the things that we're going to be doing is going to be tapping into our network extensively, people that we know and people that have been mentors for us in the past, but we're going to be looking for new people with expertise in specific areas. And I think that's going to be a huge play, and we're going to be looking for new clients. Now, keep in mind, nothing has stopped for Fresh Start. We have 7 clients right now that are active, and we look forward to expanding our resources and our offerings to make them better. So we're very excited about taking this and stepping it up.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to the how do you, because those on the Zoom call right now are very likely getting a link, or if not, I'm going to talk very slow. No, are very likely getting a link to a landing page that literally has just gone live today, and that has links, contacts, right, for you to be able to reach out to us.
Yeah.
So it literally went live today, and spelling was checked and everything.
There we go.
So audience, the link couldn't be easier to find, and the donate button also.
Good. I see thumbs up out there, so I feel good about it. All right.
Yeah. So with that said, I'd like to turn over to the audience. I know we had a couple of folks who have their hands up here. We also have some questions coming in the chat box. I think, Jonathan, you were going to coordinate that process and turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Katz, and I'm with LifeWorking Coworking, and I'm going to be moderating the question and answer part of today's cast. So it's really simple. If you have a question, just simply hit the raise your hand feature. We'll queue you up, and I'll call on you, unmute your phone, and ask your question. It's really that simple. So while we get those queued up, we did have a question coming in about the future. And you guys have really talked, I guess, a lot about how this alliance goes in the next several years and how it expands even to a national scale. But the question I want to get to first is, if I'm on this call or if I see this video and I'm an entrepreneur, I have a question. I'm not confident, as Zach, you were saying before. I'm an expert in one area, but I don't understand really how to get it rolling. And I get in contact with you and become a client. What is the process I'm put through, and how do you get me from where I am today to being that confident entrepreneur, next stage startup?
I'll handle that one.
Go for it.
So thanks for asking, Jonathan. I knew you were going to do that, so that's great. But the process is different today than it will be in the next coming months, in part because of the platform. And the platform allows us to do some things that we didn't have access to before. So we're going to be using assessments. We're going to be using a pretty rigorous questionnaire, getting people into the process, having some alignment between the lead mentor and the candidate in terms of their working relationship. Accountability is going to be a huge part of that. It's not that we haven't been accountable in the past or that incubator clients haven't been accountable. It's just we've had access to them in an extraordinary way. I mean, we meet with them often, and that may not be for the board the same situation. So we're going to rely heavily on the lead mentors. And then we're going to run them through, the circle that you have is a good explanation of sort of the mechanics of it, but it's really the relationship piece that is important. And making people comfortable that what they are getting into is about, is this the right thing for you right now? And if it is, there's some steps you're going to have to take, and you're going to be accountable, and we're going to hold you accountable. We'll teach you to fish, but you need to take your business forward, and we're going to give you all the resources to do it, but it's on you.
Yeah, could I add something real quick, John, that I've learned that I think is just a key part of this process is this concept of a lead mentor, right? So you've got a circle, you've got accountability, but you've got someone who's shepherding you through from the beginning to the very end.
Yes.
So again, it's sort of raising my hand. I've got that stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
That's right.
And I really think that's an important part of the process.
Yep.
You also, Jonathan, hit it on the head when you said, wonder if someone's a subject matter expert in a certain area, but not in another area where they might need help. And I mean, I don't know anybody. Great salespeople are usually not great accountants, right? Great accountants are usually not good managers. I mean, I'm being very general and broad, and don't take offense to anybody.
Melinda, just don't pay attention to that. Right? Yeah, go ahead.
But to answer your question, what Fresh Start and what the network and the lead mentor and the model creates is someone to pick up the phone and call if they don't know something in an area that they may not have expertise in.
Awesome. Well said.
Terrific.
Jonathan.
All right, thanks. Next, we're going to throw it to the audience here. We have Marianne Hewitt. Go ahead and unmute your phone or computer and ask your question. Hi, Marianne.
Hello. I'm Marianne Hewitt.
Hi, Marianne.
And hello. I've been an alum, although I'm an active alum, since Steve just about started LifeWorking Coworking. And, I think this alliance is maybe even more powerful than what Steve has articulated, only from the lens of where I sit. And that is, as someone who goes to that center, I go to escape being alone. Currently, I'm a solopreneur, but I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a corporate escapee. And also, I just want to note, just in case I don't want to diminish my words, at 5 o'clock, I switched to my platform and 9 3/4 virtual background. So I don't want you to think that's my normal background.
No worries.
But anyway, it's more powerful than what I think has been articulated. I think there are a group of mentors that are sitting at LifeWorking Coworking, maybe even as we're speaking right now, that are a powerful source of informal mentoring. We had a social event yesterday, and just at the lunch table, we created a mentoring situation for a Lake Forest College student. And it was ad hoc. There was no planning about it. There wasn't a platform. It was just the exchange of information during informal conversations over a great party that was put on to see Gisele off, and Sharon did a great job doing that. But it exists because that's who Steve is. And the culture of LifeWorking Coworking is one of give and take, and there's no price for giving or taking. Maybe today you give, tomorrow you take. So I think maybe we've underestimated the value of the alliance. And not that anything else that's been said doesn't have a lot of value, it does, but just the very nature of the environment lends itself to mentoring. Whether you have an established business, which I do, and you need help to pivot, or you're a Lake Forest College student and you're thinking about, geez, I need to do something for my next AMA meeting with my classmates. How do I do this? So, I think, again, it's going to be powerful the way it's presented, but there's also a lot of power under the covers.
Well, just to react, Marianne, is I was first going to make a joke that you're making me blush, but truly, that's important, right? And it's the alignment with Fresh Start, but honestly, getting out of the way, right? When great people come together, getting out of the way is what the most important thing is, and that's something that we try to do. Bringing folks together, but it's what I would say is some magic, but we know that we want to inject some more heat into that and take it up. But I just so appreciate you, Marianne, for what you said.
Very well said, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. And this is the first time we've met, and I'm really appreciative of that what you hit on, because I think that is magic sauce that we want to aspire to. And so thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne, for your sharing your personal experience with us. Next, we're going to go to Sue Mulligan. So, Sue, if you can unmute your computer and ask away.
Hey, Sue.
Hi, guys. So in case you don't know me, I am a mentor, have been with Fresh Start since very, very early on. I'm also kind of the acting CFO with LifeWorking. Been working at my accounting teams over there. So I've been involved on both sides of the companies here. As a mentor to Fresh Start, as well as a mentor in several different incubators. My question is, how are we as mentors going to learn about the companies, backgrounds of the companies that we're going to be working with? And is there any kind of differentiation you would say that you provide that is different than other incubators that are out there, accelerators?
And Sue, that's a great question. And, you've been an amazing part of our community in so many ways. And the reason you're on the call is because your son's hockey team didn't make it to the next round. Is that right?
Rub it in. He's a senior. It was his last game. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. As a hockey coach, I know, and it hurts. So I'm sorry for that.
That's okay.
I think John's dodging the question, Sue.
No.
Yeah.
No. How they're going to know is very simple. The platform allows us extensive information on the incubator clients that the lead mentors and the mentors will see and understand, even to the extent that we're going to have alignment with assessments that pair people up so that, hey, not only do I know this mentor from their application, but I know this mentor in terms of how best to work with that person, right? So that's a feature that we didn't have before. That's going to be part of it. Does that answer your question?
Well, I guess another question would be, which might be a little more challenging, how would you differentiate yourself from other accelerators, incubators that are out there?
Let me jump into that, and then you guys can back me up on this, because that's part of some of the due diligence. It's what's interesting. Again, we're talking community incubator, and using the term incubator and accelerator may bring you to the wrong place, right? Mm-hmm. I would incubator. You may say, oh wait, I need to be a millennial. I need to have a technology. I need to have a backpack, right? And that's not fair. Yeah. But certainly in the past, that's been sort of how an incubator has been cast. But we're talking about, first of all, the who, nonprofits, lifestyle businesses, growth companies, probably not as many growth companies as you would see in an incubator. The fact that you have a lead mentor, right? Mm-hmm. And I happen to know that that's something that's relatively unique, because I did doing some research, but also the fact that you don't expire, right? Mm-hmm. You could be in the formal program, and just like Marianne said, okay, I'm through the process. Mm-hmm. We're still here for you. right? In what we used to say with the chamber is, hey, your chamber meeting is here where you make your to-do list. Well, tomorrow you're going to get it done while you're here. And so Sue, what I would suggest is we are an ecosystem that's here for you all the time. We are really excited about nonprofits. We're really excited about lifestyle businesses. And we're going to, it's not, you don't have a cohort, 35 people that are coming in and you all race to the end.
Yeah.
Right? Your timing, your schedule with accountability is what you run on. All right.
That's very well said. And I think the other word too that Steve mentioned is community, and I can't emphasize that enough because I've been to other incubators, and they drink a lot of coffee together and it seems like a community, but when if you pull back the onion, everybody's in their own little silo, and they're all kind of trying to figure things out independent of a larger group kind of overseeing and helping. So that's how I see it.
Next up, we have Karen Jones. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Happy to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks. Hey, I'm Karen Jones with Chocolate Chips Association. I'm also a member of the co-working, LifeWorking locations. I'm happy to be here. My question is, this sounds wonderful. I'm excited about the opportunity, but also besides having a mentor, will there be opportunity to have co-mentoring with nonprofit groups as part of this alliance? Because it's great to have one mentor only, but as we all know, sometimes it really helps to have a group session so you can learn together. Because maybe one question I may have, but someone else may have a better question that really is what I'm looking for. So is there an opportunity to also have group mentoring sessions, especially for nonprofit groups like my own?
That's a great question. If you don't mind,
we'll jump on it.
Perfectly teed up here. We're going to get back to the whole community aspect of this, and I think that it is a collaborative effort between the incubator lead mentor and the incubator client, and together you decide what's best for you, and oftentimes it's, hey, I'd like to introduce you to this other non-for-profit because I think they are going to add value to what we're trying to create, or maybe they have ideas that will support what we're trying to do as a group. So we're always looking at this as a add more and let's not isolate. And I think that's been a big part of our success.
Yeah, and I would, to add to that, it's super well said. And again, the strategic alliance brings a place.
Yes.
And the team knows that I don't like the word space, right? Place elicits an emotion. Hopefully it's a good emotion, right? That's what we want. But the other thing, Karen, I know exactly what would happen is we have a place here and you're going to say, you know what, there's 4 or 5 nonprofits. I'm going to call them together and we're going to have our co-mentoring. Now, and then what we would do is saying, we'd market that, and I'm really not even being flip. I know that's exactly what you do. But with a place that gives the ability, right, to have a context for the conversation. We're going to have Fresh Start resources. It'll be a place where the lead mentor can be. There's always going to be somebody here. And I think it's a power that maybe, seems a little bit obvious at first. But having a place is really important.
And it's interesting, the fact that you just mentioned that, and the context that you mentioned that, that's going to be another project for us in how do we create these
cohorts, right?
living rooms where people come together and just talk about business independent of an incubator
process.
Situation,
Yep.
right? And we do it naturally as a board. We come in and it's like, how's your business? Oh, I had this problem and I've got this problem. And we all support each other. And we come away from those meetings thinking, wow, that was really amazing. That was really great. If we can replicate that and have, a working space where it's 5 to 6 open, open room, and let's talk about your business.
I think you just branded it. It's the living room. I like that.
Don't think of it as a rigid lead mentor process. Think of it as a community that you can come into to meet with teams and whiteboard problems and solve problems. For the sake of time, I want to answer all the questions. We have a couple of hands up here. Let's try to keep it 1 minute question and then 2-3 minute response.
Okay.
Jonathan?
Sure, no problem. Thanks again, Karen. Rob Wilder, you're up next.
Jim, nice job, everybody. This is a great presentation. You know, mine is less of a question and probably more of a statement, because I am on the Fresh Start side as a board member, but I love Sue's question. I love Karen's question, because it's all coming from the exact space where this alliance is trying to live. And we know that businesses start with human-to-human relations, right? And as a model, there are two very distinct segments here. There are the incubatees, those that we're going to serve, and there are the mentors as well. And what I think it's really important for everybody to understand is that, you know, the goal is to provide a huge amount of programming tools and resources to support those mentors, because the mentors are so important to the process, right? Coming off of a pandemic, understanding the fallout that happens, businesses find themselves in dire need today more than ever before in terms of understanding, are they in an accelerated future standpoint? Are they servicing a passing need? Are they on pause? And these are the things that mentors are unique to being able to help qualify. We are building an infrastructure with those tools and those resources that help those mentors deliver value to the incubator clients. That's
Fantastic.
Rob, you
Well
nailed
said.
it. Well said. I don't think you guys have anything to.
I
I don't think that can be topped. So
Wasn't a question. Sorry.
move on to the next
I don't
question.
think we're allowed to, actually, so let's go on.
Okay, I'm a part of this, and I'm even getting more excited. All right, up next we have Paul. Paul Diabri.
Hi, Jonathan. Steve, nice to meet you. I've heard a lot of good things about you from Bruce and John.
Oh, nice.
I'm lucky enough to have been drafted as a mentor by Fresh Start and get called on regularly, expanding, and it sounds like it's expanding substantially. What kind of mentors are you looking for, and how are you going to find them to assist you in this expansion?
That is a great question, and you've been a champion for us, and we really appreciate it. But let's take Beloit for example. One of the things that we would do, and I'm just
What's
telling
a
you
Beloit?
my approach. Beloit, Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we know there's certain companies out there that are supporting the local community. We would tap those companies, and we would send out an offering that is, hey, we'd love to get you involved in this, because this is a community-based, we're trying to create an ecosystem where we're supporting the growth of young companies. It's a sustainability model for both you and the rest of the community, and encourage people to join that group and create an atmosphere through space, through mentoring, through events, through education, to really grow that economy.
Yeah, and to add to that, because you know the expansion thing is important. What we're doing right now, and where we'll be expanding, is actually in the North Shore. So we're going to have the ability to have geography.
Not Beloit?
Initially. No, now that I know it, I'll go look it up. To be initially. To initially be shared, but I think it's important. You know, we're going to continue to learn here. We have, you know, one of the benefits we have. We've got corporate customers that utilize LifeWorking Coworking. There are more offerings now that we can bring to those customers that are more focused on their philanthropic side. But another important piece as well, and we talked about sponsors, right? When we talk about, and I'm going to be very, very frank here. When we talk about communities and underserved communities and how we want to emphasize that, we're going to need help, because if you look at the three gentlemen right here, not highly diverse, right? So what's important for us is, who are those partners in the community? How do we ensure a mentor and advisory group, a steering team, right, that looks like the community that we're in? And that's going to be, and I had the blessing to be the chair of the board of Love Inc. of Lake County, which operates in Waukegan, but has a lot of a lot of focus in Zion and North Chicago, Antioch, as well, Gurnee, et cetera. And so there are reaching out to black and brown religious, pastor groups, etc. We're going to look at this many different ways: the corporate dimension, the community dimension, and how do we ensure that we have the right, to really deliver on our mission.
Right.
So it's a great question. And then how do you expand that, right?
And I will tell you something, Paul. In my experience with Steve over the last couple of months, we've had several calls, community calls, and I love the fact that Steve has rallied the troops in a sense of, hey, what value can we bring to you, and what value can you bring to us? And that voice is loud, and it's fantastic, and I love being part of that, because this is part of that inclusive dimension that is so important to the Alliance.
Good. Very good. Well, good luck, guys, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
Yes, thanks, Paul. I want to go ahead and thank the entire audience for terrific questions. If you didn't get your question answered, we are a little running short on time here. As I'm sure you could tell, we are willing and wanting to have every type of conversation with everybody out there possible. So don't hesitate to reach out, and I know you have a lot of links and ways to do that. So thank you again so much, and I'll throw it back to you, Zach.
Yeah, so wrapping up the Q&A here, wanted to thank Steve and John for putting together this event. Want to please ask the audience or anybody watching this on a rerun, please like, share this with your network, engage your network, let them know what we're doing, and try to find people who are interested in either being clients, donors, or mentors. And check out our landing page. As of today, it's going to be on both websites. So find us on social media, share us on social media, and until next time.
Yeah, and I just want to real quickly too, I want you to, if you go out on LifeWorking Coworking's LinkedIn page, you're going to see behind the scenes, because behind these cameras, you would be shocked if you've been in here before about the setup we have here. We have Houston Control over here. Nobody wants to be on camera. Danny's not going to come around in front, but she's actually been turning around whiteboards so we remember what the questions are. Yeah. Just want to thank everybody that came together to put this together,
including the stream team.
Yes.
Shout out to the stream team.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I have one announcement here.
Sure.
So one of our board members, Lori Dan, is going into an operation tomorrow for her back, and it's going to be complicated and long. And thoughts and prayers would be wonderful.
Best of luck, Lori.
Thank you.
All right.
Until next time, everybody have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.